I've done one, but this is definitely very important since we're in healing from emotional abuse. I think this is a worthy subject. I think this is a great subject to actually talk about because so many people deal with emotional abuse, and it's like the silence that is involved with it because we are often led to believe that we're just complaining, we're being too sensitive, on and on and on and on. And it makes no sense to me. I've never really understood why it happens the way it does, but many people do suffer from emotional abuse. And being that this is mental health week or month or whatever, but mental health is always important. It's what keeps us moving forward. Um, I guess I'm just going to wait for a few people to join us here on this line. Um, the reason why I talk about this so much is because I understand what it feels. I understand how it feels to be to actually think that something is wrong with you when there actually isn't something wrong. This is the basis of emotional abuse, especially when it comes from narcissists. See, their whole goal is to make you believe that you're crazy, that you're making this up in your mind, that you are actually not understanding reality when the real reality is they are the ones that live the illusion. So what they do is they just go down, down, and they find people that they can drag into their nefarious web of lies and deceit. And I think the reason why it hurts so much is the fact that if you're a normal human being, you understand the value of a relationship. You understand what a relationship should be about. I mean, honestly, we don't go into relationships, and I'm not talking about booty calls. I'm talking about real relationships where you want to build a foundation with someone. You want to grow with someone. You want to help each other realize their dreams, their goals, their ambitions, their aspirations. You want to, did you hear about the paraplegic street? Oh, wow, wow, that is crazy. Thank you, Northeast State, for actually sharing that with me. But when we get into a relationship, we have goals, and not just selfish goals. We want to see I guess you would call it the unit grow. We want to see the unit thrive. But every once in a while, and sometimes more than often, we find ourselves in what I like to call the one-sided relationship, where only one person is benefiting. Whenever I embark, just like many of you, and I'm sure you understand this, when you embark on a relationship, when you start a relationship, you kind of want to give everything that you can put on the table. Like, okay, we can grow together, baby. Hey, we can get further. I've got this skill set. I know how to do this. You know how to do this. Hey, we can really get ahead. Okay. See, that's what a relationship to me should be about. And I might be wrong. It should be about, hey, let's let's look towards the future, not just the moment. Okay. The moment is set for late Saturday nights, what's the difference? Oh, Northeast Sig just got jokes. Thank you for sharing that though. But you know, when you have a real relationship where you're putting your heart and your emotion into it, you expect at least some of that to be returned. Not with a narcissist. Not at all. What a narcissist wants to do is they want to feed off you. It's almost like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay? They have no goal except to sustain themselves and feed off of your energy to make themselves feel better, to make themselves feel fulfilled. Okay? And I'm going to give you, and I'm going to tell you something. When I wrote No More Chains, it was based on the fact, and I'm not trying to sell you the book because that's why I put it in a link. You can go get the damn thing for free. Okay, just listen to the audio book. Because while I was researching the book, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, I'm going through this. I'm going through this now. Oh, wow, that's what that's all about. We find ourselves I think I put this up yesterday. We find ourselves in a situation where we feel the pain, but we just can't pinpoint where it's radiating. We can't figure it out. It's almost like being an orthopedist, you know. Well, if you feel that you have a pain in your joint or you're hurting, and I want to thank everybody for joining. I'm doing this via Restream, so I can't see each and every one of you unless you leave a comment. Okay. And Northeast Steak has actually left a couple jokes. But anywho, um, you know, when you go to the orthopedist, you know, they touch you, they feel it. They're like, okay, does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? Where is the pain radiating from? And I think that's what happens to so many of us that begin to realize that we're in the wrong relationship. We're in a place where we don't belong. You know, our nervous system is screaming at us like, this is not cool. I don't feel comfortable here. I don't feel happy here. You know, and that's what the orthopedist is doing. He's feeling. He said, "Where is the pain radiating from?" And I think that's the first step is to understand where the pain is coming from. And again, not to beat a dead horse, this is why I came up with fractured bonds, betrayal, just following my path, just following my purpose, trying to help others understand and heal. Because I'm telling you, this is something that you will, once you come out of a narcissistic relationship, you're going to find it's going to take time to heal. It's not the regular breakup. It's not like you go sit down and you eat some ice cream and you call up your homeboys and you call up your homegirls and you go out and you party. And in a couple of days you get over it. Not with a narcissist because they have embedded themselves into you, almost like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay, it's like they've become part of your existence. Okay, they become something that has embedded themselves into you, and every time you think about it, it just brings more pain because you're sitting up just saying to yourself, you're like, okay, well, maybe I was wrong, maybe I should have did this, maybe I should have done it. It doesn't matter what you do. You're dealing with a person that it doesn't matter. All they want from you is sustenance, and their sustenance is based on your emotional reaction. Their sustenance is based on how much they can drag you down into the depths. Their sustenance is based on how far they can go to break you. And you know what? In a strange way, it's not like the same breaking that you get from your haters, people that don't know you, people that you don't even know what the hell they look like, people on social media. It's not that type. It's the type of this person is empty inside. They are completely empty inside. Their life is based on an illusion. Their life is based on something that I can't begin to fathom. It's like throwing a rock off of the Grand Canyon, just sitting up there waiting to hear when the rock drops. Chances are you won't hear it. Okay. And when we look at the empathy that is within a narcissist, there is none. There is none. The only empathy, the only compassion they have is for themselves and the next supply and how they are going to sustain the illusion, sustain the mask. Okay. If you're going through this and you can't figure out what the hell is going on, why this relationship, you're pouring and pouring and pouring into this relationship and you're getting no place fast at all whatsoever. Okay, that's your first red flag. But you know, again, some of us are built differently. Some of us believe in loyalty. Some of us believe that, hey, listen, maybe if I just try a little bit more, I can make it work. No, that's not how it works. This person, just like Bram Stoker's Dracula, will leave you as a dry, lifeless husk and just move on to the next victim. You know, you get to the point where you just say to yourself, please go. Just go. But no, they can't go just yet. The reason why they can't go just yet is because they haven't accomplished the task of breaking you. They haven't accomplished the task of bringing you down to your worst because that's what they again, this is how they feed themselves. You know, I told the story about my eye. That's true. That's true. I get gaslit later, and the person is saying, "Oh, I didn't say that." Yet and still, it's right there. It's right there. It's factual. You know, the gaslighting is the most nefarious thing that I have ever experienced. People lie. Okay, how many of you have lied on a resume or your CV to get a job? I get it. Sometimes we tell little white lies, but when your whole life is based on a lie, when your whole life is based on what mask you have on today, there's something wrong with that. There is something wrong with that. If I'm having a conversation with you and everything I hear is, I didn't say that. Oh, you mistook that. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, that never happened. You're projecting that on me. No, you're lying. You're lying. And we look at this and we say to ourselves, oh, maybe I'm just being super critical, or maybe I'm just being hard on myself. Well, you know what? What you're doing is you're denying your inner discernment. You're denying your nervous system screaming at you like a freaking banshee, telling you, get the hell out. Get away as fast as you can because we are slowly dying in here. You keep on ignoring that, and you'll find yourself deeper and deeper and deeper, into hell. I guess that's the easiest way I can say it. It's like an episode from. It's like, how the hell do I get out of this place? Because you'll keep on circling back and you'll keep on seeing that tree in the middle of the road and you're saying, I'm not going anyplace. That's because you're ignoring your inner voice that's telling you there is something wrong here. You know, so Friendship Bonds the movement started off with a docu-series because Betrayal, because that was my first inkling of something is wrong here. I'm being betrayed. Okay, somebody is going out of their way to betray me. And betrayal takes many forms, but one thing that stays consistent with betrayal, it never comes from people we don't know. It always comes from those that are in a position to be able to betray us. Okay. Um, Once I realized that, it started to grow. It started to grow. Then no more chains came into view. The book that is about understanding, defining, and figuring out how to deal with narcissistic abuse. And it just made common sense. Again, nothing in this life happens for no reason. Everything has a plan. Be it your higher power, the universe, whatever. There's a plan attached to anything. And I truly believe that everything played out the way that it did so that I can help others heal, so that I can help others find a little reprieve, to help others understand exactly where the pain is radiating from. Right now, I'm working with local outreach programs to see if I can have workshops where people can sit down and share these stories that they stay silent about. Why do you think the smear campaign works so well for the narcissist? Because they're depending on the fact that you're going to be a better person and that you're going to let them go out there and smear your whole name so that when they discard you, they look like they're the victim, when in all reality, they were the abuser. They were the abuser. And it's especially bad for men because we're taught, oh, just suck it up, put on your big boy underwear, and just move forward. Go find somebody else. But those of us that truly care, those of us that truly love, those of us that truly give our all, how do you do that? How do you do that? Because if it was just a one night stand, you wouldn't call it a relationship, would you? Okay. But if you're talking about years, maybe even decades, then no, no, you, as a man, you think, well, I can fix this. Being in a narcissistic relationship, what really made me understand is I served in the Navy. Okay. I actually served in the Navy. The most hateful mean-ish that I have ever heard in my life has come from my partner. It has come from my partner, not from a stranger, not from my company commander. from my partner. The most evil, like, who would say that type ish? That's where it came from. That was the end for me. That's when I noticed, like, this is just too much disrespect. This is too much disrespect. When I started to notice, like, this person is really going out of their way to make sure I'm effed up in life. That's when I was like, okay, you've got to detach. That's when we tend to start to listen to our nervous system. Our nervous system has been telling us all along, but we have decided for some strange, stupid reason that, well, it's going to be okay. Everybody goes through problems in their relationship. Well, hey, listen, it'll all fix itself later. You can't fix something that is broken beyond repair. Okay, if you took a vase, I don't care if that vase costs you $1 or $1 million, and you throw it on the floor and you jump on it, and then you take a sledgehammer and you break it into a fine powder or fine dust, it can't be fixed. When you're dealing with a narcissist, that's what you're dealing with. Something that was broken way before you came into the picture. You were just an ends to a means. There was something in you. Usually you were an empath. They can sense that you're an empath. You have something that they are lacking in themselves. And then they sit up there and then they decide that, oh, well, this will be a worthy challenge. Let me see if I can break this one. Let me see if I can bring this one down to the point of no return and then leave. This is the cycle. You know, let me explain the cycle to you. And again, the audio book is free. Okay, it's hosted by 11 Labs. You don't have to buy nothing. You don't have to take a penny out your pocket. Okay, like I said, I'm here to help others heal. Okay, so here's the deal. If you notice that when this person came into the relationship, it just moves at super fast speed. Okay, did you notice that they kind of mirror everything that you do? They done. Everything that you say, they start to mirror what you say, what you do. Did you notice that? Did you notice that when they speak about their previous relationship, guess what role they played? They were the victim. In fact, if you have the opportunity to speak to relationships previous to that, you will find that they were the victim. So you being an empath says, I can fix this. I can help this person heal, because that's what empaths do. Then you have the great bomb. Okay, that's when you get love bomb. The things that they will do to keep you happy. Oh my God, I've never experienced this before in my life. That's all done on purpose. That was always done on purpose, because that just makes the fog bigger. Give it just a little bit of time. Then the disrespect starts creeping in. Then the isolation starts creeping in. Then you're to blame for everything. You're to blame for the last 3 relationships. It's all your fault. You didn't show up quick enough. Anything that they can blame you for, they will. Then the lies. You can't get a straight answer. You go in the room and you say, hey, what you have for breakfast? You're going to get a lie back. Okay, because their reality is not based on the reality of everyone else. Their reality is based on, hey, listen, I'm entitled to not tell you. I can make up whatever story that I want to make up as long as it makes me feel better. I see a couple of messages. BMW Trent, thank you for joining. I can't read Arabic, regrettably, and I don't think Restream has a translate key. But I thank you very much for your comment. You know, we've got to start understanding, and again, that's why No More Change was written, is to help others understand. It wasn't created to just become a New York Times bestseller. It was created to help others understand. Everything that I do in this life, again, being an empath, is to help others reach their next level of greatness. And while you're in a narcissistic relationship, you are never going to reach your next level of greatness. As soon as they sense that you are trying to get above what they expect from you, which is they only expect for your emotional responses. Once they feel that, they're going to throw the monkey wrench in. They're going to try to devalue what you're doing. They're going to try to diminish what you're doing. I've heard things like, "Oh, anybody can do that. You're not doing anything special." Or I've heard things like, "Oh, why would you do that?" But yet and still, it's like, okay, the person that I am, and that's why I put up that clip this morning. Okay, this is not about revenge. This has never been about revenge, and I understand that is our first thought. Once we recognize what it is that we've been going through, we want revenge. Okay, get over that shit. Okay, get over it, and I'm going to tell you why you need to get over it, because that's what they expect. Because, like I said in this morning's clip, revenge is an emotional response. And what does the narcissist feed off of? It feeds off of your emotional responses. So yes, they want to go back and forth with you. They want to have the capability to say, "Oh, you're trying to get revenge on me? Oh, great." That makes them feel important. It makes them feel worthy. See, when you're dealing with a person that has no self-worth, no self-identity, that just goes through life wearing a mask, you're helping. You're helping the problem. They go find a new supply. They'll do it right in front of your face. Okay? That's to get an emotional response out of you. Again, at the end of the day, your first thing is to warn the person and say, "Hey, listen, you don't know what you're getting into. By the way, please, if you're happy with it, take it and go. Okay? Take it, get it out of my life." But that's what they want. I've been accused of looking at other people. I'm blind in this eye. A person can be walking out, I catch them out of my peripheral vision. I look, "Oh, what are you looking at?" No, that's you. That's not me. I'm not looking to cheat. I'm built differently. I'm loyal. But these people don't look at it that way. They don't. And whenever they accuse you of something, 99.9% of the time, it's something that they're doing. Okay? The empty shell aspect. Okay? There's nothing in them. There's no empathy. There's no compassion. There's nothing. Okay? When we talk about empty shell, it's like being like really, really thirsty and reaching in the back of the car seat and like, "I know I left the water back there," and you pull it back, it's empty. That's your life with the narcissist. Okay, there's nothing there to help you grow. There's nothing there to sustain you. And no, I'm saying it this way not because I'm bitter, because I've come to grips with what it is that I've dealt with, but that's why I've written these books. That is why Fractured Bonds is existing. This is the reason why the docu-series must move forward. Okay, this is why I'm reaching out to community outreach programs to set up ways that I can set up workshops so that people can actually speak about what they're going through, so people can support each other in what they are going through, almost like the AA thing, the 12-step program. You know, you come once a week or once a month and you sit down and you share your experiences, and there is a supportive group of people that want to see you go back to being that great person that you once were before you got into this hellified relationship. I sit up there sometimes, I watch this smear campaign, I'm like, do what you want to do. I've got freaking receipts. I've got freaking receipts where people will just be like, "Wow, I didn't know you was that much of a piece of ish." You know, but that's not the goal. The goal is to use that thing that I talked about earlier in that clip, alchemy, turning pain into purpose. See, I don't think many of us do this. And sometimes it's cool. You escape, you can start healing, you can become a better person. You can at least become the person you were before you got embedded into this F shit relationship. Okay? You can go back to being that person, and I salute that. I, being the empathetic person that I am, I want to help others. Okay? Because I know what the hell it feels like. So if what I've gone through, the pain that I've experienced can help someone else heal, yes, I'm all game for that. That's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to do anything less in this life, but that's just me. The whole Minister Robinson thing. That's me, you know, trying to motivate and inspire people to become their greater selves, greater than they were yesterday, you know. So let's say you find yourself in this whole F effed up situation, this effed up relationship. I'm going to tell you a few things that work for me is, whether you put it on your phone, whether you put it on a piece of paper, wherever you put it, wherever you want to put it, title each entry the truth. Just put up the words the truth, okay? And write down exactly what happened. Type out exactly what happened. Because, if it's something pivotal, if it's something important, if it's something that could be the difference between you getting ahead or being stuck, they're going to lie about it. They're going to gaslight you. They're going to act like it never happened. They're going to tell, I've been told that I must have Alzheimer's. I've been told that I'm confused. I've been told that I forget everything, and it's like, no, you're lying. You're lying. That's what you're doing. And you expect me to buy into the fantasy. And I'm not going to sit up there and say I'm this great person that actually, did this from the beginning. No, I got trapped up too. I got trapped up too. But you see what? Here's the deal. Understanding the gaslighting, understanding the no compassion, understanding the no empathy. I just remember back to what my grandmother said. If people see that you have something, if people see that you're doing something and they have nothing and they're doing nothing, they will try to bring you down to their depths. Okay. And the narcissists, hey, listen, this is just kind of what they do. This is what they do. So yeah, I have to, once my nervous system was just like screaming at me, basically telling me, remember who the hell you are. I'm sitting there saying to myself, okay, I guess it's time. I guess I have to start remembering who I am. And I have to protect what I have gone through the years, bypassing this issue, okay, to continue to build. Yeah, I continue to build it no matter what, because that's what's important to me. Helping others heal, helping others understand, helping others become the greater version of themselves. That's what I do as Minister Robinson. That's what I do under the banner of Church of Real Talk. And this is something that needs to be spoken about. Okay, this is something that people need to understand is a reality. This is something that is happening in households across the world. There is someone right now that, even though all the facts point to this, they're being lied to, aka gaslit. There is somebody right now that is being blamed for something that is in no way possible their fault. Now I got a comment on a post that I put, and if you follow me, if you follow me, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't follow me, I'd appreciate it if you do. The closer I get to that 10K, the quicker I can fund all of these projects to help others, you know. But somebody put under a post, they basically commented that, they were trying to help this person that I haven't seen this person, don't know this person, but what they were describing this as a narcissist. Some of the things that they were describing were the same things that I would, and I kind of had to tell them, I was like, this person you can't help. There's no way, there's no intervention in the world that is going to make a person that feels that they are better than the rest of the world, that they sit above the rest of the world, that they can do whatever they want to do to other people. There's no way you can help a person like that. This is trauma that before you even existed in their minds, that they have, instead of dealing with the trauma, they have decided that, hey, everybody else has to pay for this. I don't even want to think about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my life trying to make other people feel miserable, thereby making myself feel validated. You can't help people like this, and Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to blow smoke up anybody's butt, but yeah, I tried. I was that guy. I tried. I figured, hey, listen, I can help you. I can throw my hat in the ring. I can make things better, if only to make sure that the relationship moves forward. You can't. It's not going to happen. This is something that is embedded into them. Has nothing to do with you. This is some trauma that happened in their past where the switch just went off and said, hey, listen, I get a free pass to make everybody's life miserable. And they get a dopamine rush when they are making somebody else's life miserable. Think about that for a second. See, they get the dopamine that we get when we accomplish something, when we do something great, when we overcome some obstacle, when we make ourselves a better person. That's when we get our dopamine. That's when we get the rush, when we break through a barrier, when we do something like great in our lives. We get that dopamine rush. They get their dopamine rush when they hurt somebody, when they cause an emotional reaction from somebody. How do you help a person like that? How do you help a person like that? How do you help someone heal when they get a dopamine rush when they're unhealed? You know, but if you think that you're dealing with a narcissist, share that you're having some kind of pain. Okay? And look away. I'm going to tell you, this works every time. Look away while you're describing what pain or suffering that you're going through. Remember, you're talking to your partner, or you're talking to your family member, or you're talking to your husband, or you're talking to your wife. Say what is bothering you, what is holding you down, what is laying heavy on your heart, and then turn around quickly and look at the expression on their face. That will tell you right there what you're dealing with, because there will always be this evil smirk on their face, like, oh, well, you're in pain. I got a dopamine rush. I feel better. I don't care how you're feeling, but please go on. Think about that for a second. Again, there are people in this world that just aren't made for relationships. They're not narcissists. They're just not made for relationships. But there are also people in this world that seek out relationships knowing that they only want to bring harm to the person that they are in a relationship with. If you feel I can't stay on that long, I got a lot to do. I got to actually answer these emails to two agencies. I'm hoping that they want to help me push this movement forward. But if you even have an inkling that your nervous system is telling you you are in an unsafe place, this is not conducive to our growth, please use that link that's right down there someplace, or go up to my bio and listen for free. It's hosted by 11 Labs. It's not going to be anything. Sign up here, do this, nothing like that. Okay? Just go ahead, listen to the audiobook. I think it's about 44, 45 minutes long. Listen to the audiobook. It's real life examples. It's a real life viewpoint. It's not some, psychobabble. And just listen. Just listen. And like I said in the beginning, that's how you're going to figure out exactly where the pain is radiating from. It might not be a narcissistic relation. It might not be. You just might just be with an effed up person. But I can tell you for a fact that if they hit most of the points in that audio book, oh, you need to start making your escape plan. Okay? Because what's going to happen is your nervous system, that inner voice, your higher power is just going to go hoarse and lose their voice, screaming at you, saying, get the hell out while the going is good. Okay? Listen to the audiobook. Find a way to push this movement forward. I'm going to be going live. I'm going to be talking about this. This is the first time I've gone live in a while. So I wanted to give a complete breakdown, but I think it'll be a little bit more structured next time. I think we will be able to, almost like how I want to do this in real time, where I live at, with real people, I think that this will be another way that we can push this healing movement, this journey forward. I want to thank you guys all for your time. I really do. I know it's kind of a crazy subject to talk about, but if it's real, it's real. There's no getting away from real. I don't know. I I, I kind of keep myself grounded in reality, unlike the narcissist that feels that they're like, Samantha the witch and or Sam the warlock, and they can just bend reality to their will, Start listening to your nervous system. If you want to share your story, the docu-series on fractured bonds, shoot me an email. All that stuff is up in my bio. Contact me, send me a message. These voices need to be heard, and it can't just be my voice, because if it's just my voice, that just gives the narcissist a way to say, oh no, this is fake, this didn't happen, this, that, and other. Don't let that happen anymore. Let's help others heal. At the bare minimum, give them a voice so that they can share their pain. With that being said, Minister Robinson, Church Real Talk, I think I got to go make my clip for Mic Drop Monday. I, there's so much to do, but I do it with purpose. I do it for reason. I believe that the universe has put all of this issue in my life so that I can move forward and I can definitely be of assistance to others. And, who am I to argue with the universe? With that being said, Minister Robinson, Church of Real Talk, you already know. Love you guys.